I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've driven by the most random, like you could see something ridiculous on the road and you're like, God, I don't know, I shouldn't love that, but it's so dumb. But I love it just because you did that with your car. Yeah, because it's dumb and you did that to your car. And then you see the most beautiful, like hot rod or low rider or luxury car, or, you know, exotic or whatever. And you're just like, I fucking love this place.
Yeah.
Somebody with, Slate? Slate. Where's Holman with Slate? Hey guys, welcome to High Octane Hustle. I'm Fastlane Jane.
And I'm Design Muse.
And wow.
We want to tell you about the Mint 400.
The Mint 400.
Was it not amazing?
Oh my goodness. Can we talk about everything?
Everything.
Every little juicy
It was
detail.
so good.
It was. It was.
And this is your first time to a big off-road race like that.
In so many years.
How awesome are off-road people?
They're amazing.
I know. They're my favorite.
Such a good time. Well, and we were prepping all the way up to it, and just the excitement for me to be able to go and do this with our show, with you, and knowing so many more people. So many of them have been guests already on the show.
We had Matt Martelli last year during Cinco de Mayo, and him and his entire crew are absolutely amazing, were they not?
They're unbelievable.
They obviously put on a great show.
I don't think there's words that can adequately describe I mean, I've been to off-road races and no, everything was so first class. It is unbelievable.
It is.
Absolutely
They make you feel like you're part of everything. The spectators are very much included. You know, they have contingency going on Fremont Street.
That was awesome.
The tech is going on. So all of the racers, the trucks are right in front of you. They're, you know,
literally, guys, 10 feet across from our booth.
Yeah.
And just the sound of the
It's
motors.
fun, huh?
Oh,
Yeah.
my gosh.
Yeah.
And oh, my God, the monkeys. Crazy. Oh, my goodness.
It's like, wait,
There's
what?
so many crazy things that you get a chance to see. Not just the
people
serious,
dressed up. People dressed up.
Yes. Teams dressed up, you guys. It was incredible. They all had their little monkey hats on.
That was pretty
or
good. That was pretty
not
good.
helmets, masks.
Yes,
It
yes.
was crazy. So.
Yeah. But it's just great the way that you're really included, you know, in what's happening in all the festivities, you know, so that was on Fremont Street, and then you go down to the actual race, you know, over by State Line and stuff in Prim, and it's just, you're part of it. You're walking, you know, you're out there walking around the trucks. Yeah. We just got to know everyone, you know, I mean, it's not that we're friendly or anything, but
you're standing in our space. We're going to talk to you.
They weren't even in our space. We went out and got everyone.
Our space. If you're in a vicinity.
That's like a 50-mile range, I guess.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay,
I think so. Absolutely. I think that was probably the coolest thing about Fremont Street was having an opportunity we walked through contingency and meeting all sorts of racers and
young and old, young,
yes,
little
11,
girls,
9 and 11.
yes,
Awesome. Stella and Zola.
Yes,
they were amazing.
Yeah.
So
BJ Baldwin, who we interviewed, you know, there's all kinds
Lonnie
of
Unser
or CJ Fawson too, who didn't even mention where he's like, I'm a YouTuber. We're like, okay. Finally, Jane goes and asks him, I'm sorry, well, what do you actually do on YouTube? Well, I'm a ghost chaser.
Yeah, you guys.
I'm sorry,
you can't make this stuff up. You can't make this stuff up. But wait, he said, I'm an accidental ghost chaser.
Right?
How do you become, were you haunted? Nope. That was the craziest thing. So you guys got to check him out on YouTube, CJ Faison.
Totally.
Yeah, we'll make sure that we have the link for him, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think, you know, let's introduce today's guest.
Oh, man.
So excited about having her on. Yes.
Yeah. You worked with her a little bit, right?
I have.
In the past.
Yes.
So this is my first time actually meeting.
Isn't she awesome?
Miss Sarah. Yeah.
Yes.
Lady Sarah. Lady Lassek. We're giving her a nickname. We're trying something.
Good to be here.
Glad that you made it.
And you are the chief brand manager for
Chief brand officer for the Aeromotive Group / Roadster Shop. So it's a little confusing for some, but we're a portfolio of aftermarket performance brands with some really incredible brands. So,
yeah. I love that. I love that she's our guest.
I know. It's going to be so fantastic. And I really like the story that you have to bring to the table, because you didn't really start out. You said you weren't part of a car family.
No, I grew up in Northern California, and I had no brothers or dads or anyone that was into cars at all. All I can say is I was a tomboy, and from the time I was little, like I always just remember loving cars, and I don't really know why, but hung out with a lot of guys, watch them put engines in their old Broncos and trucks, and just, I don't know, obsessed at an early
you
age.
did mention like a Porsche, maybe, that you were like driving one to school, or you would get rides to school in one.
Yeah. So shout out to I was probably in, I don't know, 10, 11. And my friend's dad named Jeff Richards. And it was a G body of some age. Like, I'm not sure exactly what year it was, but it was like kind of a mustard yellow. And I just remember sitting in the back seat, just kind of being fascinated with it. And they have, older 911s, or actually all 911s, they have a smell. And so you could smell it, and you just watched him kind of go through the gears and just drive this car. And it was always just, we didn't really know it, but we just knew it was a cool car. So yeah.
Well, and even to drive it in something like that too, you feel it. It's different. It's you go through everything, you know?
It was early formative, kind of searing in my brain.
Right?
Yeah.
You were like, this is cool.
Yeah.
I want to do more of this.
Yes. Yeah.
I think that she was bitten by that little bug early on, that something that everybody in the motorsports industry or automotive industry has been bitten by. They can't quite identify or put their finger on what it is.
Yeah.
But I think it's the passion that goes behind what it took. And now you're getting to see it like in real life, and you're like, I want some.
Yeah, it is. I think cars are so emotional, and I think whatever the thing is, there's so much. There's the sound, there's the looks, there's the feel, and so whatever your thing is, it just kind of grabs you, and it's hard to explain to people that aren't car people, but
I know,
you're like, it's just part of your soul, kind of. Yeah. So
I love that.
I know it resonates with us in a different way. It's hard to articulate it.
But I think each of us can say unequivocally that we know exactly that moment in time when that light switch was flipped on.
I know. No, and you said there are those moments you're like, this is just cool. I want more of this. I don't know what it is, but there's something cool about it.
Yeah.
And what was your first vehicle that you had?
Well, I learned to drive on a 79 Bug. So it was a red convertible with a white top in the very hilly suburbs of San Francisco. So you learn how to master the manual.
Yes, you do.
Feather that clutch, baby.
Yeah, early on. Well, it's fun.
I can't roll back right now. I'm sorry. What?
No. And this is another. My stepfather. He would teach me how to drive. So we drive with the top down. And so I'm, at a stop sign, rolling down a hill, and there's people honking, and he goes, you know how you solve that problem? You just do this, and you just stick your hand up the window. And I was like, that explains why I drive the way I drive now. Nothing's really changed, manual or otherwise. So, that was the first car I learned on, but my first, love that was really mine in high school was a 89 Eddie Bauer edition full-size Bronco.
Love it.
Just God damn it, I loved that car. Yeah. And it was my life. It was my life in high school. So, that was my love of V8 started there.
It's wild because my husband and I had a 78 Bronco. It was stolen.
I love those.
But here's the thing. He says, I would have never sold it. And it's interesting. Mm-hmm. Now you look at trying to pick one of those up.
Oh, gosh.
They've held their value and appreciated beyond.
Yeah.
It's crazy. You can't even
crazy.
touch one of those.
I was looking at because I still, even though Broncos have gotten a little overly popular and expensive, I went back and looked at kind of the early 80s ones, late 70s, early 80s. It's insane.
Oh, yeah.
You can't get them. So
that's how I feel. I'm like, I want one.
But that's where the love of cars started. but that's not what you got into, like you said, as a career, kind of.
Yeah, it's, and I hear a lot of people say that, like I watched the podcast with that Porsche girl and, same thing. It's like when you don't see people doing what you want to do, it's just intimidating. And so I kind of had I loved cars and I loved fashion, which I know to some people is like, that's so random and opposite. But
seems
it
seems pretty cool.
I think so too. And I think that there's a couple there, you already know this, but we align and identify with our vehicle the same way we do fashion. So it makes perfect sense to me.
It's a statement.
It's a statement, and
it
like shapes you, I think, in a lot of ways. But so I went to college, got an undergrad business degree, and it just seemed easier to go into fashion. And it took me a little minute to get there, but I couldn't imagine what a career with cars even would look like, right? I was like, you're either a race car driver or you're a
mechanic,
dealer or a mechanic, right? You sell cars at a dealership. It took me a long time, and then when I moved to LA after college and just started to kind of explore and learn, and I stayed in fashion for 20 years, so I dabbled in cars, and I never lost my love for it, but I still just couldn't figure it out. I'm like, I don't understand how that would work for me as a job, as a career.
Were you exposed to a little bit more car culture down here than up in Northern California?
Yeah, different age. In high school, like we do, dumb high school things. Like we hang out, and I had a couple of Fox Body Mustangs that one was rolled and other, it was at my own doing. But
wait,
yeah.
Are we going to share the story or no?
It's another common theme of I drive too fast, and that hasn't changed either.
I teach performance driving. I'll have
we're gonna hang out. But. Yes, and because I started to realize, like as I kind of went from American V8s into more of the German V8 and got into BMWs and started doing track days on my own, which was daunting, and just kind of like reading everything I could get my hands on and getting hooked up with some friends that had really incredible guys that have a marketing agency, and we did like ride and drives. And so I was just starting to learn more about what you can do with cars, and meeting more people in the industry, and getting more and more inspired. Yeah.
And then that's where so first off, I think you need to mention some of the fashion stuff that you've done, because you've worked with some good names too. I mean,
no, it was
a big part of what probably how it shaped you to be, do what you're now doing. So
it did. Yeah. Thank you. It's, I mean, and yes, crazy stories. I mean, this was in the heyday, kind of leading up until like the denim boom, and being in the Von Dutch era, and I worked at True Religion. So I worked in ready to wear at BCBG, and I worked for Seven for All Mankind and True Religion, which was insane.
Those are all I know.
Those.
Yes.
Might have some still hanging in the closet.
I think I've purged all the True Religions, but I've
definitely
kept the rest of them.
Yeah,
I've kept the rest of them. What else did I do? I worked at Tom's, was the footwear company where I met my CEO, or former CEO, and then was up at Adidas in Portland. So the Adidas was kind of the accumulation of my fashion life, and it was kind of the end all be all. And we moved up to Portland for a while, and that was really the turning point. It's like I felt like when I came back from that experience, I'm like, I have loved fashion. It has given me, like you said, it has given me so much. It has trained me. I have been through the battles and the wars, and and I've lived to tell. But I met incredible people and saw like a time that doesn't really exist anymore in that industry. But when I came back, I was like, I think I'm ready. Like I'm gonna figure out this car thing somehow, some way. Because
do you know where that came from though? Like what? Were you just kind of over just where you were at?
Yeah. For me, I have to be learning something, and you have to be challenged and continuing to grow. And
I love that.
I had felt like I had kind of done it. Like I didn't know what else I was going to do that was going to challenge me anymore, that was going to inspire me anymore. And I just felt like I've got to try something new. And so that was kind of it. I was like, and I had no idea how that was going to work. I just remember getting back to Venice and just being like, I have no idea how to do this, but you know, I'm gonna figure it out one way or the other.
And how long now have you been in the automotive and motorsports industry?
Well, so my
Career-wise, right?
Yeah. I mean, my hard, I guess, left or right was when I went to Omaze, which again, you know, was a job that I could not have written that job description. So
Talk
for
about
people,
that a little bit more. For people
Well,
who
I mean,
don't
that's
know
the
Omaze.
transition.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the transition point right here. Yeah.
for sure. And so I met this amazing woman.
She knows.
Right?
She knows the story.
She does.
Tell me
I'll tell you the
more.
So
We all want to hear it.
Yes.
Omaze was a crazy. So it was a sweepstakes. So it was a fundraising platform utilizing sweepstakes, and we would raise money for charity. So they would have, originally they started and did a lot of crazy celebrity experiences, but realized that giving away incredible cars, there was quite an audience for that. So
And this was like the beginning of that.
Yeah.
They pretty much started all of that
Yes.
when that craze happened. Yeah.
yeah, and so I think they started with a McLaren 720S, and that blew up, and they started to partner with like Donut and some of the other
Yeah.
guys, and realized you're like, wait a second, this is something. So then I came in and really built the
And how did you come into that though? Because that's where
random,
The, yeah.
yes, random. So a very good friend of mine who worked for me at Tom's, the recruiter, he knew her very well. So I get this like random phone call out of the blue saying, you know, we need a head of merchandising for Omaze. And I had known a couple other women that worked there. So, you know, ended up just, I had the weirdest, perfect set of skills that worked for this job. So it was like business, merchandising, strategy, and love and knowledge of cars. And I was like, I didn't know, like, you know, and Brendan was the only other
the
person with that
stars
skill set, you know.
aligned.
Yes. Yeah.
That's
So
amazing.
came in. and-
Amazing.
Oh, it was.
Oh, God.
Sorry.
We heard.
That was so corny and bad, but thank you for the mercy
Everybody says
laugh.
it. Everyone says it. So it was a blast. Like it was really, so, I mean, we were doing everything from working with incredible builders, and this was my
That's where
kind
we
of-
met. Like randomly get this phone call, and I was like,
I
what?
stalked
This
her.
is-
I stalked her because there was an article on you and Sarah
Yeah.
in Road and Track.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, we worked with great builders. We
Yeah.
worked with Icon and Ring Brothers, and you know, we worked with incredible people in motorsport, but they were all men.
Yeah.
And I saw this article on LGE CTS, and I was
Yeah.
like, those two. Like, we have got to figure out, like, we need to do a build with those two, and we've got to like talk to them. And so
Ultimately, you just manifested this big magic, right?
Oh gosh, seriously.
Cool.
Yeah.
That is so
Yeah.
cool.
I mean, I remember sitting on the plane going to the Indy 500, and we had done a Corvette campaign and worked with J.R. Hildebrand, and we were fundraising for the 500 Festival that does a lot of work in and around the Indianapolis community. And I'm flying there, and we were there on this like VIP experience, and I was like, this is what they say when, like, if you love your job, it's not work, because I had
Yeah.
not felt like this in 20 something
Yeah.
years. And I was like, it was that, to me, that was my Omaze experience, because I'm
Yeah.
a huge IndyCar fan. And so going and like sitting there in the pits and walking the track and, you know, talking to the
Kissing the
driver, I was
brakes.
just like, yeah,
Right.
Didn't get to kiss the brakes,
Oh.
but that was Elio's fourth win.
Oh
So
man,
it
one
was,
of
it
like
was
hands
really cool.
down one of my
Yeah.
favorite drivers.
Yeah. It was a blast. So that was really the pivot, and I honestly had no idea where that was going to take
Yeah.
me. And I think just in meeting incredible people and learning more about, you know, the aftermarket in terms of building and upfitting
Yeah.
and, you know, all that stuff, I really didn't know all that much about it, because my exposure had been more in like BMWs, Porsches, kind
Yeah.
of, you know, LA car community stuff. So I was like, there's a whole nother world
But you
out
guys
there.
dove in and got, well, I was going to say the top, but yeah.
You did. We did.
But yeah.
We did. No, I mean, we worked with
you
some
had
really
some
incredible
really,
builders.
incredible people that were
I'd
doing
say
them.
I would too. And shout out to Brendan. So Brendan Sangerman, who
Yes.
was on my team. So
He's
he was
awesome.
also in fashion. And I was like, there's only one other human that I know that has these same weird set of skills that will help me. And same thing, huge car guy came
Yeah.
in, and I was like, I don't know how the two of us ended up here, but here we are. So yeah.
It was a dream building vehicles like that too. So it was super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Pretty amazing experience. Yes.
Yeah.
So then from Omaze,
From Omaze,
this just keeps
Well,
getting bigger and better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
Which is
well-
ultimately what you hope for your life, right? You really want to achieve it. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm just
You hope.
thinking out loud.
And then things don't actually go the way that
Yeah.
you expect them to.
I mean, Theresa was a support through this, but in February of 22, I lost my husband very suddenly. And so my whole world stopped going like this and went very far the other direction. And it was brutal. So I took a year off basically and just was dealing with all the worst things you can possibly imagine. But part of that coming out was things at Omaze were getting a little tricky. There were some decisions made. They wanted to pivot to doing houses, and it just kind of, the whole thing was sort of going a different direction. And so my husband was such a champion of me doing what I love. And so he was a big motorcycle guy. He loved the fact that I was a car girl, and he called me his badass wife, and he supported everything that I wanted to do. And so his voice just still to this day stays with me. And he's just like, keep going. And he's like, you got to get into automotive full time. So ironically, in another small, this is like life doing life things, so Laurent Potvin, who was my CEO at Tom's, reached out, and we had not spoken in a few years, and he was coming on to be the CEO at the time called Pertronix Performance Brands. Wow. So he was like, I need someone to come and head up brand and marketing. And I was like, this is the most, and my life had been such a horrible.
Somebody was doing some work.
It really felt like, my husband was watching over me, because everything else was incredibly hard and incredibly difficult. Like, there was not a part of my life that was not just destroyed. Yeah. And then this was just like, poof, and, getting to work with LP again, getting to throw myself into this. And, even on the hard days, even on the days that you don't want to get out of bed, I was like, this is kind of a pinch me, because I'm sitting here talking to you guys, meeting people in this industry, talking about cars all day, quite honestly, learning a lot more about this side of the industry and just kind of loving it. And it's just, and I'm Googling madly certain things. And I was like, oh, I love it. Okay, now I get this. This is I get totally excited about learning all this stuff. So, my life, it went up, it crashed down, and now we're trying to go back up again.
Yeah. Wow. Well, and part of that crash down, I like some of the hobbies that you took up during that time too.
Yeah. What was I doing?
Well, one of her friends is Taryn at Taryn Tactical. Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay. Those hobbies.
And I was going to mention that, but
hobbies.
Yes. Those hobbies.
Oh, it's right around the corner from my house.
Yes. Yeah.
Sometimes a little release in a different way helps
100%.
so much, right?
It is.
Yeah.
So, my
guns we're talking about.
Guns. So we had talked about, I've always loved shooting, and my husband and I talked about getting it. So we were in Oregon. It's a lot easier to get a gun in Oregon than it is in California.
Yeah.
So we were up there, and we were we'd go shooting, because I like a SIG and he wanted a Glock, and I was like, we have to get the thing that we like, and both were rusty, and I'm like, we cannot have a gun in the house until we start to shoot a bit more. Long story short, I get to California, we get back home, he had bought a Glock, did not tell me. And so then I'm like, it was like a whole big thing. And now I find out it's a Glock that you cannot buy in California. Oh. It has the 19 rounds. Is it? Yeah, 19 rounds, and you can't get those in California. It's a great gun. So again, I take it out to the range, and I work with an instructor, and he was like, "Where did you get this gun?" So long story again, it was like, "Thanks, honey. It's a great gun," and I just have absolutely training. So it's shooting, but it's also out at a range, doing self-defense.
Yeah.
Doing, if you're going to be in your house, and eventually I'd like to get my concealed carry. You have
now
to
you're
know what
fending
you're doing.
So
it's been quite fun.
Oh, so we have that in common.
Yes, we should do a ladies shooting.
Oh,
club.
Definitely.
Yes. I know we've talked about that. One of the the guns the Sand Viper. I like the Sand Viper.
Okay.
So in bronze. Because a girl,
in bronze,
a girl
right?
can have a pretty
Another
gun.
You can
fashion
accessorize
statement,
your
too.
gun.
Yeah.
It really is.
The Roadster Shop guys turned me on to staccato, and I was like, oh, I like these. These are cool. So I haven't started buying them.
Right.
I'm a sneakerhead, and I have like my collection of sneakers that I keep buying. I'm like, I need
Love
to buy
it.
some guns.
To go in the other half of the closet.
Yeah, exactly.
All safe
Yes.
in a vault.
Other
and
new
seem
hobbies
responsible.
like
And-
that,
yes.
huh?
Yeah, and I love that in some way, shape, or form, you're educating yourself, you're understanding
Yeah.
that you can enjoy target practice, you can enjoy hunting if
Yeah.
that's something that you eventually want to do. I think that's
Yeah.
super cool. Plus,
It's empowering.
yeah, your husband
Yeah.
was right. You're a badass.
Thank you.
I think so.
I love it. I love it. You know, I joke, I'm totally oddly, weirdly obsessed with like Chicago PD and Law and Order SVU. And so I was out there, like, and I was like, I feel like I'm on Chicago PD. My friends are like, you're such a dork. I'm like, look, you don't, like, whatever gets me through this time
Yes.
is what's going to get me through
Yes.
this time.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We all need things like that to help make us feel like we can do it.
Yeah.
That's it.
It's
just
empowering,
yeah.
and you know, whatever it is, and it's like in my position, or any woman, you know, it's like take your own, create your own strength and take your own, life into your own hands, and protect yourself, even with a
Yeah.
little bit of education.
Yes,
it's just
that's
smart.
important. Yeah.
That's key, because
Yeah.
even when we talk about driving, right? Because I'm a driving instructor, we don't focus on a lot of education.
Yeah.
So I do proactive, right? Or we
Yeah.
do performance. And it's the same with weapons training.
Yeah.
And it can be bow and arrow. It
Yeah.
can be knife, because I was doing, did you ever meet Jack Dagger?
No.
Oh, yeah. Next time you go to Terrence, you let me know.
Okay.
We'll call, and
Okay.
we'll do some knife,
Yeah.
axe, shovel,
Oh my God, fun.
throwing.
Oh gosh.
I always
there's
want to learn how
all-
to throw a knife. I have not tackled that one yet.
If you can shoot a gun, you can throw a knife.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
A new hobby.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. But it's, it
Something
is.
else to spend money on.
Right.
Well, but at this stage, at this stage in the game, it is kind of like we all spend so much time at work. We put so much focus into our jobs, which,
Yeah.
I think we love, but it's like there's only so much time. And
Yeah.
I hate to be the cliche, but life is fucking short.
Yeah.
And if you don't, whether it's taking a nap or going shooting or going for a drive, like you have to do the things that you love, spending
Yeah.
time with the people that you love. And I'm like, I don't really give a shit what anyone thinks about it anymore.
Yeah.
You just
Yeah.
have to do what is good for you.
With age and
Well-
experience comes wisdom,
Yeah.
right?
And it's
does.
good that you got into an industry that, like you said, like you've kind of been waiting to get into. And I think the people in it, they just care so much about it.
Yeah.
There's something different about it. And I really love some of your other dreams that you have for it, because I think it does. Cars unify us in such a different way. And I think like your ideas for that really help bring that together too. So
Yeah, it's funny, like, and being in the aftermarket is kind of one part of car culture, right? Coming from sort of Porsche world, BMW, European, that's another, and then you have LA, and you have. We were in Detroit for Roadkill Nights last summer, and I had the privilege of being. It's right around Dream Cruise.
Oh,
and
yeah.
So we had the privilege of. Not for sleeping, but for watching. We were staying right on Woodward Avenue, and we just stood out there, and it was just like watching, just being in heaven, right? And we live in LA, so there
Yeah.
isn't a car that you don't see in
Yep.
LA. You see every crazy thing, and there's
Sure.
nothing, you kind of get jaded, but then you go to Detroit, and it's a different world, and
Yeah.
you see these, cars that are probably like 70-year-olds, 80-year-olds, probably driven by their original owner in
Yeah.
flawless condition. And it just was a blast. And like, then I love lowriders. Like I'm
Oh.
obsessed
Yeah,
with lowriders.
totally.
And then you have the off-road community. And then
Yeah.
you have so there's all these different factions. And I want to find a way to bring everyone together, like whether it's an event or a weekend or something, because we all, I think, see each
It's
other
going to have
so
to be
different.
a big parking lot.
I know.
Big parking lot.
Big parking
But
lot.
something, there's
Thinking
got to be
airport-ish or
yeah, some way, right, to
Yeah.
like bring these people together, because everything's so, right now, everything is so just like divisive, and our political,
Disconnect.
everything is just so
Yeah.
kind of.
Country's very divided
Very
right now.
divided.
Yeah.
And like all of us who love cars, it doesn't matter what kind
Right.
or why. It's like we all love cars, and you
Yeah.
can be any shape, size, color, whatever,
Right.
and bring everyone together and
Yeah.
celebrate all of this. So I haven't quite
Cars.
figured that out yet, but cars.
I know you will.
I know, I do too. That's why I'm like,
I'm
let's
like,
put it out there. It's
okay.
the manifesting
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
We're throwing it out there. It's happening.
Yeah, because there's so much crossover, and it's
Yeah.
just, I think it would be a blast. And there's so much art and music and fashion, everything that has come out
Kind
of
of like
car
the
culture.
US Festival of Cars.
Yes.
Ooh,
Right?
Back in the,
Yes.
I remember
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
US.
remember that?
Yes,
Ladies?
the Lollapalooza of
Right,
cars.
right.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah.
yeah.
We're gonna figure this out.
All the things.
Yeah.
All
I
the
think
things.
so.
It just-
Well,
Totally.
Stay tuned, you guys.
I know. So this is happening.
We'll
we
get
figure out how to
Sorry,
rule the
we're out of
world,
time.
we'll let you know.
We
Date
needed to
and
talk about it,
location.
Yeah.
to,
Yeah.
just
Hey, but
in
if you
case
have a
anyone
location
else.
idea, go ahead and put it down in the comments below after you hit like
Yeah.
and subscribe.
Yep.
Yes, all the above.
Yeah.
Because you want to stay tuned because
Yeah.
this is big stuff.
No, but it's great. It really is. There's something different about how all of us connect like that, and cars they're an extension of our personality. And, and like you said, the fashion, like bringing all of these different things together, like it's cool. It's
Yeah.
just,
Well,
I don't
and
know,
you
there's
look at a
something about it.
lowrider, right? You see the lace and the textiles all in that.
so-
I mean,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
fashion right there,
just
right?
their
The colors,
stunning.
everything.
Yeah.
Oh,
they're
yeah.
just
Oh,
stunningly
yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's, I think I think there are a lot of people that understand the crossover. I went to it was the Z06 launch at the Peterson, and I'm embarrassed to say I forgot the gentleman's name who designed the interior of that car. And he came out of the sneaker world, and we talked for a long time. And it's
cool.
like there are a lot of crossover.
Yeah.
There's a lot of crossovers between cars and fashion, because it is like we look at a car and you can get goosebumps, right?
Oh,
You look
totally.
at something, you hear a car, you
Yeah.
smell a car, you sit in it, and that's what I think. What clothes do, if like you can put on something great, it makes you feel great, or if you go out and you're like, God damn it, I really didn't want to wear this and I feel uncomfortable all
Yeah,
day.
Right.
yeah.
They
Right.
can change your whole mindset. So
Totally
it's a little
agree.
weird, but
Yeah.
not so weird.
Yeah. No, it is. It's such a
Yeah.
big part of that. And truthfully, that's what I loved about Omaze so much, is that each one, you guys like allowed people to do what they did best. You were just kind of like, cool, here's the genre, here's, a certain vehicle, like do what you do with it.
Yep.
And that was it.
Yeah.
And it was so awesome.
That's really
And getting to go out and
But-
shoot content with you guys, like we're
Oh,
like,
gosh.
you go and do your thing.
I
And
know.
that's why we're coming to you, because you are
Yeah.
the builder, you are the expert, you know this,
Yeah.
and it was a blast to see them all come to
I
life,
know.
you
And each one, I mean, you worked with Von Gittin Jr. You guys worked
Yeah.
with so many different people.
Yeah.
Like you said, Icon, Ring Breath, like great. And these vehicles turned out amazing. They really did.
Yeah.
I know. I didn't say amazing.
you just did.
I said
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
I said,
She's like,
I know.
She's
I
giving
know.
me that look.
Yeah.
She's giving me that look. Oh
No,
my
it
gosh.
was really great to see that. So I can't wait to see what you do with everything else,
Yeah.
because that turned out, it really did. I mean, it had a few good years running. It was insane the way, it was like the craze what was happening, and people are doing it now. I think you had one too, of people giving away cars and stuff again,
My
And-
son.
Yeah. Well, no, exactly. And
They put together a
Yeah.
group, Envision. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to kind of see and have you sitting here and and see what they're doing.
Yeah.
It's still a
So-
great idea for people trying to fundraise or,
Yeah.
do something interesting to market around their brand or their company. It's still, and you don't have to do it. There's a lot of different ways to do it. That was
Yeah.
obviously on a very big scale, but it's, people love cars and they love
Yeah.
free cars and they love nice things. So
Yes.
it's an easy kind of marketing tool. So I get why
Yeah.
people are doing it.
Yeah.
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 That's awesome.
I know, huh? It's pretty cool.
Yeah. I think it was where was I? Roadkill Nights maybe, where,
Okay.
someone was up on stage and they're like, we come for the cars, but we stay for the people. And it's,
Totally.
it is really
Totally agree
true.
with that,
And
yeah.
I have really enjoyed, I cannot say enough good things about the people in the aftermarket. And, just my first SEMA, which I know sounds crazy, but just, again, meeting so many great people and the talent and such, again, different world, but stunningly beautiful cars and workmanship. And it's, I've been quite impressed.
Yeah, it's funny because I say I reference cars sometimes or trucks, and then, people want me to specify some of that. And then I'll say motorsports, but it's even more specific. And there are so many little niches everywhere of what people are into, And so, yes, I like to customize vehicles. That is a big part of that. But some people, just like to road race, a stock vehicle. There's so many different aspects of it. It's just really interesting to see how cars are like that and how they've built culture and community throughout the world. Baja Forged, signature vehicle builds and off-road products built to forge your own path. Baja Forged was basically made because we loved off-roading. We loved the open roads. If you're looking for off-road products to help you get out on the terrain, visit bajaforged.com. Follow us on Instagram at Baja Forged for our latest builds.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is an absolute honor to officially announce the giveaway of this 2018 GMC Denali behind me and this $10,000 in cash. Head on over to the site, envisionsupplyco.com, for your chance to win. Every $1 you spend will get you one entry into winning this 700 horsepower truck and this cash. Your chance is now. Good luck.
Well, we always like to get into a couple little questions.
Oh, for sure.
So my questions are always.
Oh God, my worst nightmare. Yeah.
And you can keep this open. It can be as many as you want. But what's your favorite car, and where would you or motorcycle or whatever it is, and where would you take it? If you could take it anywhere in the world too, a certain racetrack or off-roading or anything like that. I know it is.
It's the hardest
you
question
can
in the world.
You can tell us so many. It's okay if you have multiple.
3, I think.
I love it. Okay.
So BMW.
We were going to limit you to 5.
Okay, good. I was like, I could go to 5, but the
Life
BMW
is not about limits.
3.0 CSL, the Batmobile. That is kind of at the very top up there.
Why?
I think one, because I have such a love of BMWs and their heritage in motorsport, and that particular car in motorsport. It was kind of the heyday of the motorsport, and when BMW came on to the scene and just grabbed me. And it's still a still unique car, and it's still a beautiful car, and it just. It's not, by today's standards, it's not fast anymore. If you get kind of if you just get one of the, street versions of the homologated race car, but it's still just such a driving car. So I think for that, I'd have to take it, if I could take it into European, in Switzerland, in the mountains, and, some of the, best driving roads in Europe. I think, that's where that needs to go. Still love a 73 Bronco. I can't, it hurts my soul a little bit of what's happened.
The 69.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
Again, it needs to be a little bit lifted. It needs, it's my high school, it's still that dream of it's clean, but it's lifted, it's slightly, modified, but still it's kind of original. And it's just to have that thing and cruise and take it to the mountains and do whatever, I love them.
Nice.
Probably the last one would be a 911R, which is newer, but probably in the newer 911s. I think this one would have been a 991, if I'm not right, or 997. I can't remember, but it's the purest pure of a new 911 or new post air cooled 911. So.
Love it. And you had said that you love air-cooled cars in general.
I love old Porsches.
Yeah.
I love new Porsches. But there's something about my husband had bought a 993, and it is now my 993 that is going through a full engine rebuild. So I'm like, thanks, honey. But now it's mine, and I now love it, and I've become so attached, and I now get why the emotion of those cars and the tactile experience of driving those cars.
Yeah.
And they're not the fastest, it's not the biggest horsepower, but my God, are they beautiful driving cars. So
love it.
And I think for me, with, maybe this resonates with you, but with vehicles, there's 2 things that happen. Feeling the road is something that you can't get a lot of in
New cars.
Newer
And newer
cars.
cars, yeah.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
EVs don't do it.
Yeah,
either,
an electric
'cause I
car at all.
yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, you've got so much stuff happening. You just don't feel that
Yep.
that same and freedom.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's the sex appeal about it.
Yeah,
Personally.
and you know, my daily is not a manual. I don't want to live in LA driving a manual as my daily. And so getting in,
it's not
but
fun.
your daily's seriously badass, dude.
I do love my daily, but
It's,
you know,
it's sick. It's sitting outside, you guys.
yeah.
It's gorgeous.
it was the daily's a AMG 63S wagon. Also, so that was a bucket list for me, and that would have been in my top car. So there is this moment where I still sometimes walk out in the garage and I'm like, is this my garage? You know,
Love
and
it.
it was a big decision because I walked away from most of my BMWs
Yeah.
and kind of like took the leap, but I do love my wagon.
Yeah.
But
Love it.
it's a balance of the
rad.
993, right? You have the like
100%.
two
You have
opposites.
so much balance in your life.
Right. That's the way to do it.
I did
That's
everything
the
by
definite
cars.
car
You
girl
like,
thing.
yeah, you need
Yeah.
your daily, you need your
Yeah,
kind of
something that's
escape car,
functional.
you need your track car, you
Well,
need
yeah.
Agreed. All of
you
those.
need your
yes.
off-road vehicle.
one.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
That's the only thing that's not sitting in your
Yeah.
garage,
Yeah.
right?
I need my truck.
She needs a truck.
Yeah, I know.
She
I'm
needs
like,
a
what
truck.
can what Roadster Shop build do I need to?
Nice.
Oh, man.
Oh yeah. Oh
They've
yeah.
done some
That's
incredible.
serious.
Yeah,
Right.
Serious.
So-
You might be on a waiting list. Maybe you'll
probably
get bumped
am.
to the top. I don't know.
Josh, help me out. No, they have a
and
long
thank you.
Right?
list. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think you have a couple, huh?
I do.
Questions.
I do.
Okay. Okay.
I have a whole bunch. I'll ask one and then person you'd like to sit down with and most enjoy a conversation, glass of wine, meal, alive, not alive, whatever you want.
Yeah.
Tell me who. Tell us. Tell the audience who.
No, just
that would be?
Yeah, just tell me. And why?
I have, again, another like two polar opposites. So the first person is I'm a huge fan of the band Tool. And
Didn't
Tool,
see that one.
I
coming.
know. Cool. Okay.
Tool has gotten me through a lot, both when I was younger and then also in the last couple of years. There's nothing better than like I put on my headphones,
Scream
get on the spin
hardcore.
bike, and listen to some really angry music. And so Maynard James Keenan, who's the lead singer of Tool and amongst other bands, he is probably one of the most fascinating characters and also kind of not always accessible. So sitting down and talking to him and kind of hearing his life story. And then the other two that I would actually love to sit with them together would be Beth Peretta and Catherine Legg. So
Beth
if you know,
Peretta
Catherine is a sports
I
car.
was going to say Beth Peretta could probably happen.
I mean,
Pretty easily.
I listened to a long, Marshall Pruitt did like an extended interview with her on his podcast a few years back. And I just was like, God, I would love to like internalize some of the strength that she has had to like muster up to get through a lot of the experiences that she's had.
Yeah.
And so I would love to just sit down with her. And Catherine is, you know, one of very few women in sports car racing who's quite accomplished. And I just respect her career a lot. So
That's
those two
amazing.
minds would be incredible. Yeah.
Love that.
I do too.
Yeah.
You. What do you got for her?
Oh,
Let's go.
you.
You.
What do you got?
Yeah.
Well, you said you love being in the City of Angels. Like, why? What is there about LA that you feel like it just keeps drawing you back?
You know, LA, so I grew up in the Bay Area where
Okay.
you are born and raised to hate Los Angeles. So anyone from San Francisco
Wow.
you're like, you must
to
hate
know.
LA. But we don't hate San Francisco. It's, you know, and if my sister ever listens to this, she'll laugh. So she's still up there and most of my friends are still up there. But I find LA, you can kind of be anything you want. It's a big and small city, but it's, you know, you can kind of do what you want. You can be what you want. You know, obviously the weather is incredible and it facilitates a lot of things that you can do here. And I
Yes,
think
it does.
obviously it goes without saying that the car culture, and having left LA and come back, I've realized, you know, that this is a really special place.
Right.
It's diverse, you know, diverse in people, diverse in music, diverse in art, you know, and it just, you take it for granted.
Yeah.
When you go outside of LA.
Yeah.
And so I just come back and I'm like, this is my happy place. And I've had a weird relationship with it over the past couple of years because
We all do.
yeah, and it's changed. There's things
different-
about it that
yeah.
are changing
Yeah,
and make
yeah.
me less
Sad.
happy. But
Yeah.
I'm like, it's, I think you just have to kind of keep the things that you love and carve those things out and get out from time to time and, explore. But again, like there's just, some incredible people, and I just wouldn't want to leave this community.
Yeah.
So,
I think that's part of it. People like there's something about all of us gravitating towards here. Definitely it's the weather. I don't care, hands down. I mean, we have so much going on here, especially for off-roading. I mean, anything can be done whenever you'd like
Yeah.
to. You can go to the beach, you can go off-roading, you can do all these things, but the culture is really such a big part of it, and it brings so many other people together like that. And it is my favorite part of it. Like being in the customizing world and like trucks and stuff like that, like everything, especially for the SEMA show, it always happened on the West Coast in LA. In this area first. It always did, it kind of the car culture, like the epitome of what happened here, it happened everywhere else a few years later, Then it was like, oh, okay, it went up north or went over here or whatever. But it's always been just, I don't know. It's just been such a big part of us too, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've driven by the most random, like you could see something ridiculous on the road and you're like, God, I don't know, I shouldn't love that, but it's so dumb. But I love it just because you did that with your car. Yeah, because it's dumb and you did that to your car. And then you see the most beautiful, like hot rod or low rider or luxury car, or, exotic or whatever. And you're just like, I fucking love this place. 'Cause
Yes.
it's just like a candy shop of like all the things, So, yeah.
Do you lean more toward built or bought? And why?
Well, I mean, and why? I won't judge you.
You don't answer this the right way. No, I'm kidding.
So it's funny, but it's funny that you bring that up because social media had something like that.
Oh, really?
Recently, and it was
Am I going to get
fun.
panned?
No.
Yeah.
But it was funny because they say they were trying to figure out what, and I know Marcel would just jump in right now on this conversation. I was like, wow, this can go down a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
So the built not bought, right? The phrase of saying that, people were like, oh, well, I had someone else build it, but they built it for me, so that meant built. Going off on a tangent here, obviously.
Yeah,
but
I know what
does
you're
that
talking
Does that mean
No
built?
idea,
I
right?
mean, does
Right?
it
Yeah.
really mean
Yeah.
no?
Right?
Because
So this
technically,
is a whole
car
nother.
manufacturer built that new car.
So
right?
You
all of
modified.
these things, and so everyone had obviously, but
An
yes.
opinion.
So going to the built not bought, there's so many. Like, where do you?
Interpretations. Okay.
So I'm just like, there's a lot of clarification in all of these types of things.
Yeah.
What is,
You brought up Icon. You brought up Ring Brothers, your Roadster
Sure.
shop, right?
Yep.
Sure.
If you had a preference, you'd want both. I know that. But, because
I like
because
that. I don't want to
Yeah,
choose.
I mean,
I don't want to have to choose.
Yeah.
I want all of them.
Yeah, all the things.
I want all the things.
Yeah.
What do you find yourself appreciating a little bit more when it comes to we're talking about, oh, look, how cute that is. He did that. Now I'm talking about serious cars.
Yeah.
What do you find yourself when you're at like a SEMA show or something? Are you gravitating toward the new trucks and Toyota booth, or are you gravitating toward the Ring Brothers booth?
Yeah.
Booth.
I
Not
think
easy for me
more
to say.
towards the Ring Brothers booth. I mean, I think for me, because most of my history has been bought and like modified. I am
Modified's
unfortunately
a good word. Yep.
not
Yep.
right, like so not built. And I'm not someone, it's something that I like crave to learn more about and be able to. But I am not someone that can build my own car.
Yeah.
So
Right.
like right now, I just spent 3 hours with the engineer that's working on the engine for the 911, and just like, nerded out and wanted him to walk me
Yeah.
through everything so I understand what's going
Totally.
on. But
That's
that's kind of
cool.
my limitation. Like, don't ask
Okay.
me to put it together because
Yeah.
I wish I could. But I think, and spending more time in the aftermarket with people like the guys at the Roadster Shop,
Yeah.
they did a C10. I can't remember for a customer, and I was like, I'm obsessed with that car.
Yeah.
It was just perfectly dropped, still patinaed. It was modern, so resto mod,
Yeah.
and it was just. I'm like, you would drive that around LA, no one would know what you had, and it just so to me it's like that combination of new and old, or just even doing just something old. I just think they're interesting now, and I think as much as there's a lot of beautiful new cars, I feel like we're running out of, I can say there's only a handful of manufacturers that are putting out. I think Porsche is probably one of them, Ferrari, Mercedes to some extent, but like new cars aren't as interesting as old cars anymore. And so whatever the old car, like I'm finding myself like getting way more excited about things I've never thought.
Like a Hemi Cuda, right? You're like, I didn't like that year of the GTO before, and I'm not sure. I do now. Yeah. Because there's nothing,
I mean, at Roadkill Nights, it was like, I am so in love with this. The craziest shit. Were like people would send the most random things down the track.
But performance upgrades, which you very much appreciate, and you've mentioned and all of that. So on the outside, the aesthetics could be old and vintage or patinaed, but and have that character and charm that we all love. But performance,
lots of performance.
There's also,
you got it. I mean, technology. We all love technology.
Yeah, and on the flip side, if you've owned a resto mod or an older car or something of that nature, there's some reliability factor in the newer vehicle. And golly gee whiz, is it still under warranty? So there's that. I mean, so
that's why you need at least 3 cars, because at one time one of them is not at least one of them.
Anyone that has a custom vehicle knows this.
Yes. So you need multiple.
And poor Greg, my husband, man, my Magnum had a blown head gasket. Yeah. Then he threw a rod in his race car. Then I had to have my clutch fixed, and
it's not fun.
And the air filter changed too. Boy, starting to look like a shop vac. That was just last night. Greg's like, oh my gosh, it's those things. He's thinking, does it need a tune? Does it? Oh my gosh, what happened? Yeah. And all it needed.
That's like
it was
every
working
time I go
last night when I left it in the garage, and why now when I've come back? What happened?
What happened 24 hours
there? It just happens.
It just happens. Yeah, but
oh my God.
No, it's been really inspiring, and now it's almost worse because you're like, well, now I want all the things.
Of course you do.
And I want to work with all the people, and
cool.
It's there's just a lot of really innovative
things.
We're
in the same boat,
right? And so how do you see the future with where you're at right now and stuff, and kind of going from there?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think right now we're in a place where, I've been with this portfolio for a year now, and I think we're trying to bring life back to these brands where, like, these are all really great heritage brands.
They
are. We were kind of talking before that some of them had kind of been quiet for a while, and so we're trying to, even Pertronix.
I was going to say, share with us what those brands are again.
So Pertronix ignition, Taylor cable, JBA exhaust, Doug's headers, Patriot, Aeromotive fuel systems, Waterman, CompuFire and Spike, which are CompuFires really, and Spike are both motorcycle, but then CompuFire is also a lot of VW air cooled.
Oh, cool.
So it's, and then of course Roadster Shop,
right.
which is the newest member to join the
nice
group.
Broad spectrum of options, right?
And I think it's interesting to learn the customer crossover, kind of figure out, like, especially with Pertronix that is known for, everything pre-74. It's like, well, okay, we've learned that a lot of, like, my buddies that work on 911s, they're like, I use Pertronix. My friends have Lancias and 308s. They're like, I use Pertronix. And we're like, you do? Amazing. Now we've got, so we're trying to think of, how do we expand the audience? How do we think about, as we all know, in the aftermarket in particular, our core demographic is aging, and we need to figure out how we bring in new blood. And hearing you guys talk about the Mint and these young kids is so encouraging.
It's so I know, for sure. Yeah. And it just needs us to bring them all in, We see these parents that were bringing all these kids in. It was amazing. It was really cool. So people take your kids out to races, car shows, all the above.
Our parents did the same thing.
Yeah, they did.
I mean, it was a little bit more, like, I grew up in the San Fernando Valley area where there were the little go-kart races. Yeah. And one of my parents, friends, kids.
Yeah.
He did that.
I went to the
So,
Mickey Thompson off-road races.
My
that
husband
I grew up
raced,
doing.
Yeah, he
Okay.
raced. You probably
Yep.
saw Greg racing.
Probably.
I'm sure of it. His little ATC
Probably.
out in Pomona.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But all of that stuff. And that's exactly what we want to do too, is just pull everyone into it. I mean, it's not even the next generation. It's like anyone that wants to get into it, because we have a lot of people that are our just like motorcycles, for instance. So many people, especially women, have told me like, oh, I've always wanted to ride. Well, why don't you? Well, you're not too old to do it. You can do it now.
Still stand up and ride a
you
bicycle.
don't understand. Like, you're going to love it so much, so do it now. Like, there's no time like the present, right? To, live our life, because it is short. So
It's short. And and I probably am a walking example, but I am a big believer in, I think I'm on my fourth career, not job, but like career, and it's like, right. And
too.
as
We were talking about that.
Jane, right? Like you keeping on, like keep reinventing yourself and keep finding, it's like, you're not too old.
Isn't it crazy though, how there's been, at least in my experience, and I think it's been with you, there's been one thread that connects all of these things, and it's creativity.
Yeah.
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 So.
Yeah. And people.
Okay.
yeah.
Now I thought that.
Now you're like, now you're
Are
done.
you sure we're not shooting?
Now stop talking.
Okay, stop now. Shooting
Well, I mean, you know us, so we could go on forever.
I love talking to these ladies. We'll just have to do this over wine sometime.
Totally.
Oh, that would be so fun.
We'll go. This is what you're talking about.
Wait, are we
There
doing
you
wine
go.
first
Where
and
are
then
we going?
shooting?
What vineyard?
Maynard from Tool he produces wine, so we go to his vineyard.
Oh,
Yeah.
why don't we go to his vineyard?
vineyard.
Are you guys
Yeah.
going to do a remote with us on that?
Yeah.
Okay.
This sounds great.
Now.
Yeah, we've talked to like Roadster Shop. We were talking like we need to do a
like
shooting, driving. What was the third
Well,
thing?
that's what-
here? I was like, but
do
in
we
what
do-
order do we do these things
that's
in
what I was
first,
like,
right?
the wine
Yeah.
or well, hold on.
Oh,
Maybe
yeah.
go shooting first,
Yeah.
then we'll do the
First.
wine.
Yeah,
And then
there you go. Yeah,
Then the
and then
wine,
the driving.
then the interview,
we drive, and then the wine.
There you go.
Drive, then the
Shoot, drive wine.
See, that's like what is it? Blackmore Ranch.
Oh, yeah.
That's what we
Yeah.
need. That is a good location.
Again,
Sorry.
manifesting, we're just,
Game.
this is what's next.
Oh, good.
Or a good cake party on the west side.
There you go.
Cake party.
Yep. Game on.
I'm in.
I'm all for it. Yeah, all for
Thank
it.
you so much for being
guys.
here.
Oh, this has been so
No,
good.
I really
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
It's been a blast. Yeah, I've been looking forward to it.
Good. Us too. So this has been awesome. How can people find you? Sarah?
Probably best on Instagram. I'm at SL Lassek, so SLLASSEK. Not a mouthful at all. Yeah.
She's going to probably change
And
that.
then-
to
I know, I've been thinking about it. I was like, maybe I
But
should.
you want them to follow your brand, right?
So also Aeromotive. So Aeromotive, Aeromotive, JBA, Pertronix,
Okay.
Taylor, Doug's. They all have their own Instagram
Okay.
and Facebook profiles as
We'll put
well,
those in.
and
I was
or
gonna
our
say,
websites,
yeah.
Aeromotive
Okay.
Inc. and PertronixBrands.com.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, it's been amazing. Thank you
Yes.
so much for
It's
being
been
here.
amazing. Yes. I did it. Yes. You guys know you love it when I ham it up.
You didn't snort though.
Yeah.
It's a snort-free day.
Amazing. Amazing.
Amazing. I can't stop. Oh my gosh. This has been High Octane Hustle. I'm Fastlane Jane.
And I'm Design Muse, and
this was,
Sarah Lassek.
thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Thank you guys for watching. Be sure.
like, subscribe, follow,
Yes.
those things.
What she said.
Please. Thanks.